Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I had to mute
Okay,
because
I was going to say it got real quiet over there. All
yeah.
right. Good morning. We are on. I was making sure I didn't have sound
I,
issues over here because you got really quiet.
well, one thing I
Good.
don't see the top of your head on my
Can
screen. Now I do.
Okay, I need to sit back. So,
There you go.
all right. Let us give folks some time to join.
Okay, okay. Exciting. So do you like Skype? Do you like this for your life?
Um, so I use a system called Ecamm while we're waiting for people.
Okay.
Ecamm. I do like Ecamm. It comes across really professional. There's some lagging that happens, and I think Skype, having my guests dial in on Skype, eliminates some of that. It doesn't eliminate it completely, but it eliminates some of it. So it's a combination. The system is Ecamm, and it's Skype that I
Okay.
use to have the guests come in. Now, I think I'm live. Yes, we're live.
It-
Okay, we have one person joined. Okay, so we have one person joined. I'm gonna give it another couple of minutes, and as
Okay.
I had a whole bunch of people say, I can't wait for this one, so I'm expecting others are joining,
Let me send a reminder on my page.
and then we'll go ahead and get started. They
But you
might
know
be
we can talk,
run.
so
We
it's
we
not
go
like
and we are gonna talk, even if they don't join. We gonna talk. So.
exactly. We
And they
gonna
will
have a good time
they will have to catch the
regardless.
replay.
Happening now. Okay.
Did we talk about? Yes, we talked about the bell behind you because I have three. I
Well, you
remember we
came.
talked
You
about that.
told
Yes,
me you
yes.
had one.
Good
Well, you
morning,
have.
Sandra. What'd you say?
Oh, I said you have some. You have a few of
Yes,
them.
I remembered that. Good morning, Sandra. Good to good to see that you're here. Thank you.
Hey, Sandra.
And you're seeing the comments when I put them in too, right? You don't see the comments? Okay, let me see. Tell me what you see.
It
Good
says
morning,
Miss Jewel
Kenya.
is using a device that could record or broadcast this call. It's a record button, add participants, translate captions. That's it.
Let
And the
me
screen chat.
Okay,
Maybe
hang
let me
on.
see. Let me look at. Let me open up chat. No.
It's okay. It might be the Skype chat. Hang on for 1 second. Let me see if I can figure that out. I saw an option and I wasn't sure what it would show you. Okay, we're over here figuring things out, so bear with me just a minute. And then we're gonna get started. Thank you all for joining.
My son started his program in IT, and I don't pressure him to work for the family business, but if he chooses to,
I
I
know
don't
we could use them. We could use a
love.
whole bunch. Maybe it's in the preferences. Let me see. To view. Okay, I just changed your view. What do you see now? Did it change? Did your view change? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Did I lose you? Good morning. I think I might have lost C. Hold on 1 second. She's frozen. Good morning, Arnell. Good morning. All right, let's give it a second. I think C, I don't know if I did it or she did it. Oh, she said it kicked her off. So it must have been me. Yeah, she's frozen. She's gonna dial back in. All right, let me undo that setting and let her dial back in. Okay, I don't know what I did, but it looks like it kicked you out. So
Yeah,
let me not do
I don't
that
need to
again.
see. I don't need to see. You just can tell. Just tell me what to say. Tell me what they say.
Okay.
Uh,
I think you don't see the comments,
no,
but
I don't.
I usually repeat them. So no
Okay.
worries. We'll figure that out. So let's get started. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
That's okay.
I'm still learning this system. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm glad to so many people are saying they're excited for this conversation. We are as well. So thank you all very much for being here. And I'm going to kick off my session like I do. Let me take a couple of minutes to do that, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. My name is Jewel Pearson, and this is Miss Bohemian Soul TV. This is the Creating Home, a Tiny House series segment. And within this segment, this is one of the conversations on intimate spaces. Every Sunday, I offer live content. I alternate between these conversations and the What's Your Question series, where I answer frequently asked tiny house questions. To kind of introduce myself, I like to say I built a kind of fancy tiny house in 2015. And since that time, I have shared my journey to hopefully inspire others who are interested in the movement. I also offer coaching and consultations to help others in their tiny house journey. And you will be able to find links to schedule consultations with me in the video description once this episode goes live. And along the way, I serve up a lot of representation because I want us to see us in this movement. And so that is what one of my goals, one of my main goals. It is my intent to build figurative and literal community that is inclusive and accessible. And I hope that if you find this information in the video helpful, you will like it, you'll share it, you'll subscribe to the channel, and be sure to turn on the notifications so that you'll know when content is going live. So now that I have gotten that out of the way, let my guest introduce herself. I thank you so much for joining me this morning, this afternoon in North Carolina for us. So please introduce yourself.
Well, if you ask me, I'm gonna say yes. So hi everyone. I am Clarenda Stanley, aka Farmer Cee or C. Um, Answer to all of them. And I have a medicinal plants and herb farm in Liberty, North Carolina. And that's where I'm at right now. I have a tiny on my farm, and we'll get more into all the mechanics behind.
Absolutely.
But the way that I had the opportunity, the gift of meeting Jewel is because I was looking to add on-farm facilities. I had an issue with some security. We have high value crops here. And so we needed to have a place that we could be on site full time. And so, yeah, connected with Jewel, and she helped make this possible. And I'm very fortunate that I consider her to be a friend now. We don't spend nearly enough time together.
We
She
don't.
keeps leaving me and going on trips and to concerts, but we gonna work on that in 2023, okay? But
Just just go ahead
yeah,
and use
so
this as an opportunity to put me on the spot.
put
Go
you on
ahead.
blast. Yeah, I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, no, she didn't. I'm right up the road. But yeah, thrilled to be on this call today. Thrilled to share any insight, any feedback, my experience for those who are considering it, flirting with it, whether residential, whether you're looking for a vacation home, whether, like for me, you need it for your business. Yeah, it has been a great journey. And so I'm just excited to share my experience with it.
And we're going to talk about the farm. We're talking about all the things, not just tiny houses, because I always do the intro where I say that I believe our homes, our tiny homes, tell a story about us, whether it's intentional or unintentional. And then I also think that people who live in tiny houses or acquire tiny houses, like there's some intent in those decisions to get there within the design, even if you didn't design it, but as you acquire one, your thoughts go into design, and we are going to talk about that because it definitely was the case for you. And that's what I want to explore in the conversation. And I know that you aren't the typical or traditional tiny home dweller, but you do have a tiny house. You're about to have two tiny houses. So
Yeah.
I want to speak to the role that plays in what you do. So thank you so much for introducing yourself. Um, so part of what I want to do is interview people who are in the movement, around the movement, and you are all of that, like in and around the tiny house movement, and a lot of what you do as with your farm also relates to the things that I talk about within this tiny home journey and the things that people should be focused on, for wealth building, all of that stuff. And so you touched on this just a second ago. And before we tour the farm, I want you to expand on the reasoning for having to have the office, the tiny house office on the property 24/7. Like I want to talk about why that was necessary.
Okay, so I'll break it up into two pieces. So first, I will share the necessity of being on site. So, like I mentioned, we grow medicinal plants and herbs. We have over last season we had over 2 dozen species, high value crops. We produce for our own product line. So we source for ourselves. And as we're developing our land, initially I have another property, the homestead we call it, and that's about an hour away, good hour. So I was commuting for years. I was coming down here, working, still worked remotely, for my previous employer, no longer work for them, fully working for myself now. But I was commuting, and that meant that even though we had security systems, we had gaming cameras, it's in a rural area. So it's not an area that's well lit. It's not an area where there's necessarily any type of surveillance or anything like that, which is what I want, what I wanted, right? I wanted
Mm-hmm.
something that was excluded, and that wasn't in the midst of a bunch of hustle and bustle. But the flip side to that is that
Absolutely.
you don't know what happens. And
Right.
so we had a situation where people were coming onto our fields and just having good time, donuts, just
Doing the
riding,
most.
doing the most. And one of our fields that they did the most in, they did do the most damage because they ripped up some of our cover crops. And that is not only an economic
Right.
um, hit, but it's also an environmental hit.
Right.
So we knew that we needed to be here full time. One of my crops is hemp, cannabis. So there was also a lot of attention being drawn to the farm. We went in a lot of media, getting a lot of attention. So we needed to be on site full time. Now, while I ultimately have plans to build a permanent home, and well, this
Wait.
is permanent
No,
too.
Wait.
Okay,
Wait. Wait.
okay,
Wait. Wait.
okay,
Wait.
okay,
But I
okay,
want to talk about that too. I
okay,
know that's
okay.
your plan. So
Yeah.
yes. Okay. So I'm gonna share the screen. I want to talk, and
But I
I
give you the updates on that other
oh,
house. You surprise me when I get into
okay. All right.
it.
Let's see. Let me change. Okay. Can you see the pictures? I thought
I can't. I see you, and I'm not getting off this screen because it does not.
I'm scared.
Apparently, it does not want me to see some stuff. But
I'm scared to change it. I know that you can.
let
I
me
don't know.
see.
I'm scared to
It's.
kick you off again.
I'm looking to see if there's something. Well, let me click more. Turn off. Hold no. View. Maybe. Okay. Let me look at view. Grid view. Maybe that's it. Hold on. Let me see if I change. Okay. Nope. That's what we're in. Together mode. Um, okay, so I see a background. Well, no, this is weird. It's got us like sitting in front of some trees. That's not
Okay.
it.
Bear
Yeah.
with us just a second because I really want her to talk to these pictures. I want to hit this button one more time because I swear this is the button that's supposed to let you see.
If it kicks me off, I'll call back.
What do you see?
Mineral, same. Let me look over here. Let's see. Meet now, new chat, set status. What's that? Settings, record, add participants. Yeah. Share.
You should
Well,
be able to
would
see
it be
the
share screen?
broadcast.
Is that what you need
No,
to? Oh,
no, 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 no. Okay,
okay.
let's for the sake of time, since I
Okay.
can't figure this out right now, I'm gonna have to figure it out when I have some time. So the first picture that I have here is a picture of you looking at the greenhouses. So talk to us about the greenhouses and
Yeah. So we have on site, we have a greenhouse and we have a high tunnel. They look very, very similar. The difference is your greenhouse, you have some type of surface that you're not able to plant into the natural soil. So that means you've put gravel down, you've put some permeable, impermeable surface, but it's not the natural soil. So you usually grow in containers, have things on tables, etc. And then your high tunnel, you do grow into the natural soil. So you're planting in the ground. So that's the basic difference between the structure. And then, of course, our greenhouse, we have more utility capacity in there as well. But we produce in both. Our greenhouse, we primarily use to get our seeds started and for some of our container plants. So those are plants that we keep in pots and grow in those pots until we harvest. And then in our high tunnel, we use that for a root crops or a root crop, ashwagandha, and then we also use that to grow hemp. And the reason we do that in the high tunnel is because we're able to better control the environs as far as pests are concerned, weeds, etc.
okay,
Then we also produce in our fields.
okay. All right, and then the next picture is just a picture of the fields, and I personally know this is the picture. This is a picture of the fields where you've recently also had trouble with the little cows.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, my tea field. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay. And so then the next picture I'm showing is of the building where I know you do the bulk of the processing. And so the
Okay.
picture that I got from your page was where that building was being brought onto the property. So I added this because I wanted to kind of understand the backstory for this building because I know you are big on reusing and sustainability, and I feel like there's a story behind this building.
Yeah. So I actually found that building, believe it or not, on Facebook Marketplace. They were selling it for the wood. And so we knew we needed on-site production and packaging facilities. Had looked at all kind of options, building from scratch, a few options. So I decided to go. Let me just go see the condition of the wood, etc. And I go, and this little building is sitting there, and it's looks to be intact. And I'm thinking, oh, this is sad that they would tear it down for the wood when it's still pretty much intact. And got a little history on the building. It was about 7 miles away, and it looked little to me. So I'm like, I'm gonna buy the building, okay? And I'm gonna move it to my farm, and I'm gonna rehab it and fix it up, and it's gonna be my tea cabin. So that's where we dry our herbs, we have our storage, and I actually produce our products. Get the building, and how it looked when it was in that original spot and how it looked when they start moving it. I'm like, I got catfish with a building, but lots of history. So the oldest is actually, the building is two parts. So the longer part, it's like an L shape, but the longer
Right.
part was added in the 1920s. The original part was from the late 1800s.
Okay.
And it was used by a sharecropping family about 7 miles away. Now, when I tell people sharecropping, for some reason, instantly we
Mm.
think of poor
Mm-hmm.
Black sharecroppers. So let me just put this out there. Me personally, I'm very in tune with ancestors, spirit, uh, intuition, and intention. And it would never be my intention to get a building that housed so much misery
Mm-hmm.
of my
Mm-hmm.
people. So for me, I also look at this as a cultural flip because this building had been in this family, poor white family, from their knowledge for at least 4 to 5 generations.
Okay.
So once I got the building, my mindset, I told my kids, I said, we're going to flip this and we're going to show them how we can come and make money in one season. And so we got the building, fixed it up. It's totally different now. Had to get the roof replaced, completely redo the plumbing, the electrical, the foundation had to be rebuilt on half of the building. We had to insulate, all sorts of things. It's still a work in progress. Still a work in
Mm-hmm.
progress. We just had the bottom insulated and sealed off, but we love it. It's such a place marker because we had a huge mural painted on one side. I did that actually at the point that I was ready to burn it down. I said, okay, let me put something beautiful on here because I love art. I'm not going to destroy art. Let me put something beautiful on here so we can keep this going. Costs way more than I had anticipated, right? I don't know if it was a way I could have estimated how expensive it would have been,
No,
but it's
probably not.
yeah, it's priceless. We love it. And that's where all of our beautiful teas are made.
And so let me take it back. So the picture for the viewers, that's her family in the middle there around that tractor. I hope you all see the sign on the side of the building that says where the money
Missing
resides.
two. Yes, missing two now. Uh, because,
Okay.
my family's
Yes, you got
grown.
right. And so this is product. This is I'm sharing a picture of some of the teas, and then your new packaging.
You got the new packaging?
I got the new
I'm
packaging.
so
Yes,
proud of
I
it.
did.
Yes.
And then this is a picture that I took. And so so it's part of the old building and it shows the new tiny in the distance. And so
Okay.
the next picture is you sitting in front of the new tiny with the security office banner. we
Uh,
we've
we're
already
going to get
talked
into that.
about, yes,
Well,
we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. So
okay.
the security office, and then that's the tiny again. And when I had an opportunity to visit her, it was such a beautiful day. So behind
It was.
her home is are her fields, some of her fields, and then in front, if you follow her and have seen any of her stories where she does her tub talks, that's the famous tub right there. Clarenda, I don't know if you want to say anything about the tub,
Good
but
job.
it's famous.
Yeah, so another Facebook Marketplace. I don't even go on Facebook Marketplace anymore after 12 p.m. because I realize I'm vulnerable. Okay. So was looking for a clawfoot tub. And my idea initially was an outdoor bath space. Not necessarily to be like bathing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm I have a limit to how rustic I can get,
Oh,
right? Like even out
understood.
here at the tiny and in the cabin, I need to be able to flush things away. I need hot
Okay.
showers. I like a little luxury. I like to be comfortable. Put it that way. I like to
Okay.
be comfortable. I still like my bells and whistles. So I got this tub and I was gonna create on Pinterest, gonna create this luxurious outdoor bath situation. And of course the clawfoot was gonna be the center of it. When we got the clawfoot, at the moment we took it off the truck, that is when it hit me that no, we're going to put that right there. I didn't have water there. I didn't have anything there. I'm like, that needs to be right here. Everyone tried to talk me out of it. Nobody puts a clawfoot tub in their field. It's my field. I
Exactly.
am.
It is your
So
field.
now someone is going to do it. And so that is my meditation tub. The way that I have it situated, I get a perfect view of the sunset. If I'm facing one way, if I'm facing the other way, I get a perfect view of the sunrise. So all of my buildings are positioned on my farm, actually, based on how the sun moves across the sky. That's how I
That's
made that
beautiful.
determination. And so I lay in it and drink coffee, tea, wine, whatever. People know when I'm in my tub, Don't bother me. Like
Are you
my
not to be
grandkids,
disturbed?
yeah, my grandkids will come and be like, BB, when you're done with your tub time, when I'm done. Okay. So everybody knows if they need a little time out, they need whew, anybody. Go have a moment in the tub. I highly recommend
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.
Wash away the stress.
All right, and so the next picture is the picture I took of you standing on your deck in front of the tiny, in front of the mural. And so, talk a bit about. Well, we'll talk. It's up to you if you want to talk about acquiring this tiny, but I also want to talk about this mural. And again, it
Yeah.
kind of it syncs with the discussion around making stuff your own and how murals are important for you on the farm.
Yes, yes. So I have a pretty extensive art collection. Art has always been an important part of my life. I serve on a few arts boards. It's just part of what I feel makes life more fulfilling. And so with this building, I knew the way that I had it positioned that it needed something on that side. And I actually went to Raleigh Mural Project that focuses on murals in Raleigh, North Carolina, and said, hey, I want to put a mural on this building. And they're like, you're not in Raleigh. No, I'm not. But I think it would be great if we were to partner on this. We split the cost in half for the artist, and I want to have a Black woman artist paint this mural for a Black woman farmer. And that's the story there. And so I was fortunate to work with Georgia Tardy, who is a wonderful artist based in Raleigh. And the concept is the way that the faces, we intentionally left the faces white
See,
because,
let me interrupt you for just
okay.
a second because I don't have that mural. The mural we're looking at right
Oh, you're
now
talking about the one on
is
front of
the
the
one on front of the tiny. I did
Okay.
not I didn't get the picture of that mural.
Okay.
So
Okay.
tell that story and then I can share that picture later,
Okay.
but finish
Okay.
telling that story and then let's talk about this
Yeah.
other mural.
So, real quick, with that one, she positioned the women to be looking, one's looking at the sunset, and the other woman is looking at the trees, permanent gaze. And so that is based on the history and the role of women in agriculture. And also, it is paying homage to the feminine divine in nature.
Mm.
So the one on my tiny was done by a good friend of mine, renowned artist Andre Thompson. I was like, Dre, you got to go put some color on this thing before it comes to North Carolina. And fate would have that he lived about 30 minutes away from where the tiny was located at the time. So he actually went to the tiny, painted it for me, finished painting it literally as the truck is pulling up to take it away. So the paint was drying on the road as the tiny was coming to me. And I wanted it to be florally light, really reflective of nature, nothing too serious on it. And he did a great job. Really excited to have both of those pieces of art on our farm. I think more farms should incorporate public art. Um, it it adds so much to the experience. I mean, you're already
Right.
dealing with a beautiful masterpiece of nature, but for me, I think it encourages you to take care of things more and to have more respect for things. Like I'm careful around my art. I treat those pieces the same as I treat my other artwork.
And so the last picture that I think I have in the series, oh no, the next to last, is where you're sitting now, the interior pic that I took. And talk a
Yeah.
bit about downsizing your art. And you were already talking about that, but this is
Yeah.
the interior of the tiny.
Yeah. So a lot of my art ended up going to my adult children, my two girls. My son will be getting his as well. I allowed them to go through and pick out some pieces for their collections in their homes. And so that's great. My baby girl and her family actually are in our family home. So it's not sitting there empty, which I'm really excited about. And it's a family home. It needs a family in it. Me being in it, it was just too much space and echoes, etc. So for me, in the tiny, I picked a few pieces that fit, that seem to go with the tiny, so to speak. They just spoke to me like, yeah, these are the ones that I want to look at every single day, in the security office. Security office. One of them is a piece that my parents had when they were married. My mom's now passed away. They got divorced. My mom's passed away, but it's from my childhood. I remember looking at it when I was younger. A couple of pieces just by some artists that I really love. And I have my mask and, art in different forms. In addition to paintings, I have some drawings. I have like my mirror, my Africa mirror back there that a good friend made. I have all of my crystals and rocks. So I'm just surrounded by things that really matter to me. And I think that was one of the biggest things, was
Right.
curating my possessions and not just having all of these space fillers. My previous home, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. It just had, if I saw an empty corner, I felt obligated. I need to put something in that corner. And so I'm at the store and I'm buying something just to take up space. And you don't realize how much stuff you accumulate until you're in the situation where you have to go through it and curate what really matters. So I pride myself now on only getting things that spark joy for me. I don't have a whole bunch of unnecessary stuff. Now, with that said, I am not a minimalist. Okay.
No, and
I am
we're gonna talk about
yes.
that because I say the same thing. So hang on 1 second for that
Okay.
thought. And so
Okay.
I want to say to the audience, so remember this picture because we're gonna talk about this. So see the picture that I'm sharing now, before you and I get back to conversation, is the picture of your certified B corporation and your family. You all gathered around. You know
Yeah.
the picture that I'm talking about. Okay, so I want to talk about that in detail. So everybody remember this picture, and then we're gonna get back to conversation if I can find where my mouse is. There we go.
That's the one with me in the rocking chair.
Yes, you in the rocking
Okay.
chair. Yep. All right.
In the rocking chair. I have 3 grandbabies, have 5 now. And then I have my 3 adult children with me. And um, the B Corp, yeah, certified B Corp. So it's really challenging certification.
Okay. Wait 1 second, because I don't see you in the broadcast anymore. I see you
I
change your
didn't,
screen back because you did something with the trees. Whatever you did
I didn't do anything.
when.
Hold on. I didn't do anything. It's
when
looking the exact same on my end.
okay, hang on. Let me see. Maybe it's me. Let's see.
Let me
Where did
see.
those trees come from? I see you
It's
sitting
under
in.
together mode. Look up in your view corner with the little 4 squares where you see view. Click on that, and if it's clicked on, if together is on, then that's where the trees are.
I don't have it together. You hit.
I didn't do it.
I okay. Hang on. I see the trees now. Where in the heck did this come from? Y'all bear with me. I don't
I
know
saw that
what
earlier
happened
though.
here.
Yeah, I saw it earlier when I was trying to get to the screen with the pictures. I clicked on it earlier on my side on the together mode, but then now it's back on the grid view.
Lord, y'all bear with
No,
me.
gee,
I
is
don't. I
everyone
have never
else
seen these trees before. I
is
don't know what this is.
is everyone else seeing trees, or are they seeing?
Probably
Are they?
change.
Can they tell you?
Oh, I see. Together mode has been enabled for this
No, you don't want
call.
that. You want
How do I change that?
it should be a X by like a X.
I'm looking for the X. Y'all just hang on a second.
Gotta love technology.
It works so well until it doesn't, or until you don't know what you're doing. Okay, maybe we're getting back. I see you now. Jewel, what did you do? All right, I see you, but it's still saying together mode. Create
I'm gonna see.
view.
I'm gonna take a picture and show you how it looks on my screen. So see, on my that's a video of me and my cat. Hold on, that's not what I intended. So on my screen, it's like this.
That's not what I see. Okay, hang on. They talking about they like the trees. Y'all are funny.
Oh, they see the trees too.
Apparently they did. We're not doing trees. We're not doing trees.
We like trees. Trees are good. So on your screen in the right corner, you don't see a little thing that says view with four little squares?
In the Skype, I do see
Got it.
view,
That's what
but
it said in Skype.
I'm trying to get you in my back in my eCam. That's
Oh,
that's
okay.
what's
Okay.
happening, and I can't figure out how to do that. I see it in the Skype. What do y'all the in the they gonna tell me what they see? Hang on. Oh, the-
Oh, I hit
uh,
the no stop. Okay.
okay, now she was fine. It was fine until she clicked on something to show you. Okay, let's. All right, I'm gonna figure this out now. Okay, I see both of us in Skype.
Okay.
You see Skype. Bear with me. I'm gonna be a professional at this at some point. From just clicking on stuff. So I think all you all do. You all see Clarenda? Do you see both of us? We see Skype. There's something with that together mode. Y'all see. All right, now I need to figure out how to get back.
Oh, I see. So I'm looking at the live chat now, and
So
it's like,
that's what I see. Okay, now I just need to figure out how to get me back in there.
oh. Look, JD trying to put it on me, talking about Jewel, it was fine until she clicked it. Well, I ain't click on nothing, JD. My hands were not on anything. I can't control it from my end. Look at you trying to put it on me.
C is in together.
Hey,
Oh, now I think they see me, but I don't think they
it's
see.
still showing. Unless this is behind, it's still showing me, but it's like me split.
All right, I'm gonna figure.
Okay,
I
now it's you.
Now it's me. Okay, so it is behind. Now I just need to figure out how to get us both in there.
Oh, see, I can't control. I don't have any control over
I
that
think
piece.
I might have figured it out. It's
Okay.
backwards. Wait a minute, it's backwards. Let me see if I can I think y'all see both of
It's
us,
in
but
together mode. I'm not
I
in
think it's
together mode. They said
I
C is in
think they should
together
see
mode.
both of us now.
Yeah.
I think y'all should see both of us. Somebody tell me
Yes.
if you see both
It
of
is.
us.
It is. It is.
Okay, we're just
Oh,
backwards, but we're backwards now. I might have to switch the names, but we're backwards. I ain't messing with the names. Y'all, listen, that was traumatic
let me
for me.
let me stay Jewel. Let me go out here and do some things. Let me go
I'm
out here and
not
do some things.
I'm not switching the names. I think I know how, but listen, this that was traumatic. I don't know what I just did. But okay, let's get back. I am so sorry. Technology just is this is not my forte right here. But thank you. Thank y'all for helping me navigate this. Okay, see, thank you so much for walking us through the property. Let me ask one question. My first question. Yes, names are backwards. I'm gonna fix that at some point. Do you? My main question: do you see yourself as part of the tiny house movement? Is one
Absolutely.
question I want.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. Now the second question I have for you. So when somebody steps on the farm, when they pull up in your driveway and they see the property, they see the cabin, they see the tiny house, what
Mhm.
is it that you want that to say about you, who you are as a person? What is the first thought that you want a person to have when they come onto the property?
Well, as you know, I'm very careful about who I let
Mm-hmm.
come to our farm. We're not open to the public. It's not a farm where any random energy can come. So people who come is by invitation. And for us, the biggest thing is that this is a place that centers Black joy, and more specifically, it centers Black women's joy. And
Okay.
so every aspect of this farm, I want it to be a place where Black women can feel psychologically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually free and connected. And so when people pull up, they should be able to sense that and know that this is a place that is very connected to culture, very much connected to our reverence for taking care of the planet. So we are mentioned Certified B Corp, which is we're the first Black farm in the country to attain that certification, and it's a Black woman's farm. Let me put that on there, because not only are we the first Black farm, but a woman did it, and that often can get skirted under, especially in agriculture, which is very, very much male dominant, white
Mm-hmm.
male dominant specifically, but male dominant overall. And so when you come here, you should feel that feminine energy. We don't try to mask it and hide it. It's right. It's in your face. I just recently painted an entire wall this beautiful, brilliant purple, and I've added some pinks and some yellows and colors that make me happy and that really connect with the fact that this is a place where we call it our personal joy factory. We're manufacturing joy every single day. And so that's what I hope to convey when people come.
I definitely felt that when I pulled up. So someone is asking, how large is your property?
It's 15 acres.
15 acres.
Yeah.
So you have a very successful niche market. Talk about your market and how you decided on that specific direction.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of farmers of color in the medicinal plants and herb space. And when you do find them, when you say medicinal plants, people think about one plant, one species. And they don't necessarily think about all of the other plants that exist. But we have been using plants as healing agents since we have been on this planet, and it's a tremendous market. It is huge. Just peppermint alone last year did 125 million. So there are tons of opportunities and tons of medicinal plants and herbs. For us, part of the motivation was driven by things that I was going through. I turned to plants. I was dealing with anxiety. I'm going through a very stressful time professionally. And after George Floyd was murdered, I was working in a white dominant environment, in the environmental space. I was a frontline fundraiser, traveled all over the world, worked with some of the wealthiest people in the world, and got to see things from a perspective that contributed to anxiety, just to put it lightly. And um, you know, when you're in those spaces and you um, lend voice to some of the inequities that you're witnessing, and you have I had a spiritual and conscious conflict with raising money for things that I didn't feel good about. And then George Floyd was murdered. And so I start having full out anxiety attacks. Thought I was dying at first. Having physical manifestations of anxiety, which can cause, stomach problems, sleep problems, all kind of things. And the first thing, of course, doctors want to do, they want to put you on prescription
Some
drugs.
meds. Right, right.
And I'm not opposed to if you need some prescription. I'm not opposed to it. But I am very inclusive in treatment. Like, don't exclude something just because you've been conditioned to. And so many of us are so scared of plants. We'll sit there and we'll drink all kind of substances and we'll eat all kind of things, and then when somebody puts a herb in their face, they're like, oh, I'm scared, what is that going to do to me? And I turned to herbs and started really finding plants and combinations of plants that worked for me. Now, I didn't want anything too complicated, because you get into the herbal space, they have all these different plants and there's all these different ways and all of that. For me,
Right.
tea, because I enjoy tea, was an easy way for me to incorporate more plant medicine into my life. And so that's what I did, really start working with two groups, primarily nervines and adaptogens,
Okay.
and was able to find some combinations that provided me some solace and some peace and assistance, and continue to share those with others as well. And that's how things grew. Our plant our plant recipes are straightforward, very straightforward. And I tell people I'm not a herbalist, because I get tons of uh, DMs and messages where people will go in depth with their
Oh, yeah.
medical information. It's like, hey, what should I take? I don't know, a nap, some time to go get a
Take a
medical
nap.
team. I'm not a herbalist. I am a herbal farmer, which means that I get to know plants in a way that nobody else gets to know them. But I don't know 50,000 plants. I know the
Right.
plants that I grow and that I nurture here at Green Heffa Farms. So that was the motivation. My own health, family members, had family members with different things that they were dealing with, and so friends. And so it blossomed from there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
One of the things that I talk about with tiny houses is the opportunity for wealth building, non-traditional wealth building. Because the first thing somebody will say to me about a tiny house on wheels is that, well, you're not building equity. There's there's opportunity to save money, there's opportunity to invest that money. There's a whole lot of opportunity outside of the equity that people
Yeah,
fall back on in traditional housing.
yeah.
And I know you talk about that as part of your slogan, where you say grow slow so you don't owe.
Yeah.
Talk about the importance of wealth building and how that ties into how you operate the farm, maybe even how that has tied into what the tiny houses represent, the tiny house, yeah, represent for you.
Sure. So yeah, we grow slow so we don't owe. So as I alluded to, my background is I'm a professional fundraiser by training. Global fundraiser, worked in the environmental space. Also have worked in higher ed. There are not many people like me in the philanthropy profession, and especially that get to work with the uber wealthy. And so I went through a period where I believed all the trappings were what defines success, right? You're told you need to have a certain zip code, you need to drive a certain car, you need to wear certain brands, you need to be able to eat at certain establishments. And so I hustled and hustled and hustled, and I accumulated that. That's what I was doing. I went and got the degrees, I got the certifications, I did every single thing that they said I had to do in order to prove, to validate that I was successful. And I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable because I was living, even though I loved my profession. I love fundraising. But the thing about it for me is I got to feel good about what I'm raising money for. I want to be a vessel for transformation, not a tool used to fund inequity. And so start going, get to an age. I'm at that age. I'm in my late 40s now. I'm really paying attention to how I spend my time. Reclaiming is in full effect. Right. And I did not want to spend my time trying to continue to meet up to this idea of success that meant nothing to me. I'm wearing all of these European brands from companies that don't give a damn about Black people in any such way. And I'm perpetuating it, right? I'm living in a community where we're one of the few Black families in that community. And it's a good investment. Still have that property. Like I said, my family still uses it, but I wasn't happy there. They try to condition you to believe that, oh, it's so scary to live in the hood. No, I tell you what's scary. When you living in a community surrounded by white people, and about 3 or 4 of them got some white vans. Okay? A white person driving a white van is stressful to me. So I didn't want to do that anymore. I'm like, I want space. I want to be out. And no, not only that, there's this thing when you say you're a Black farmer, right? Now, never mind that, yeah, I'm a Black farmer, but I'm also a Black landowner. I'm also a Black CEO. I'm also a Black brand owner. But when you say farmer, people can't move beyond that. They immediately think I grow fruits and vegetables. I sell them at the farmer's market or at a farm stand. This very provincial, antiquated idea of who a farmer is. And I don't work to think that. I like the fact that people think I'm broke because you're not asking me for money. It makes my life a lot easier. But I wanted to have a space where I had a blank canvas. This land there was nothing on it. So I was able to come in and make it exactly what I wanted it to be. Now, I bought my property back in 2018. Since then, the property value has more than quadrupled. Just my land, not any improvements. Just my land has more than quadrupled because land, they're not making any more of it. So not only have I built wealth with a brand, because I can sell Green Heffa Farms tomorrow. I can sell the brand and keep my land. They're not tied together. And having that as an asset, having my land as an asset. And now, because my living expenses are so much lower, I have more money to be able to invest in other areas, to be able to participate more in the stock market, to be able to give. Our farm gives back 5% of our profits every single year. We have organizations that we give to. And so that brings me joy. And for me, also, wealth is about being able to have experiences, being able to provide my family with experiences, and I'm able to do that. If something were to happen and my kids need to give me a call and there's an emergency, they don't have to go to anyone else. They can come right to me, and I want to be able to have that kind of capacity in my life. And I don't live less. I think a lot of people think because you have less, you're living less. I actually live more. My life is filled with more now. 2 hours, my entire place is clean, including my baseboards. Okay? My other house, I would spend an entire day cleaning the upstairs. And then by the time I get to the upstairs is dirty. Or I'm paying housekeeping to come in and do all of these things. And I felt like almost in a way I was living a life that I wanted to be camera ready, right? I'm making sure that if somebody came in and took a
Yes,
picture, it was
yes,
perfect. And now I'm living a life that's more about purpose than
intent,
perfection. And
intent.
that's the kind of wealth that you can't quantify. Um, and it's priceless.
Absolutely. I agree with that. You touched on so many things. The less is more. And I talk about that often with how difficult sometimes the tiny house conversation is in our community, in Black and brown communities, because the American success story is big and more and have all of these things and
Yeah.
things. And so then when you start talking tiny houses to our community, and our community still has not had the big house, they're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that, because that is the complete opposite of what success, what I've been conditioned to understand success looks like.
Exactly.
But then with that, just like you said, the less is more. My house being smaller allows me, I don't physically travel with my house, but I can physically travel. And this
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle, the reduced expenses, allow me the opportunity to spend time with family when I want to spend time with family, to travel, to do the things that I couldn't do in the bigger house because my
Exactly.
finances dictated more of what I could do. And that is such a big difference and part of the reason why I want to share us in this movement
Mm-hmm.
and to show how this is impacting life and what the opportunities are. My tagline, you don't have to give up luxury to go tiny. Your house doesn't have to look like a cabin in the woods, Laura Ingalls little house on the prairie, you out foraging
Exactly.
for berries. It can still be luxury, just on a smaller scale, and you have so much more opportunity to do those things because you're not building at large scale. And so there's a lot of opportunity in there, and that's exactly what you were just speaking about. And that we grow slow so we don't owe. That is all of how that ties in. And so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
um One of the things I want to talk about, and you talked a bit about your downsizing process. And so
Yeah.
here's one of my plugs. I'm going to plug the work that I do. So C said it in the beginning, and I know some of you all weren't here when we were doing our talking in the beginning. So we met, excuse me, because C signed up for one of my consultations. And in my consultation, and she wasn't in the tiny house mindset, and I kept saying, sis, because she was talking about her art, and I was like, sis, you're gonna have to figure out how this is gonna work. All of us can't be in the house, and so she has, and it was a slow conversation because she knew she wanted to do it, but how do I get from I want all of this stuff. How do I get to my
And my
pieces
animals,
that
my
go
pets.
and
Yeah.
and your animals? And so we talked
Yeah.
about how to incorporate her animals, because you got three dogs, and then
Three
it's three
dogs
dogs, three
and now
dogs,
a
and then
cat.
Clifford the cat showed up, and that's a whole different story. But how to incorporate things, and that's one of the things I always share in consultations. Like, you don't have to give up everything, but you do have to downsize. So you're going to have to figure out the most important things. And so now to hear you, and because I'm just like you, like I didn't start off in my tiny house thinking sustainability, and I'm a minimalist, because I'm not a minimalist, but I do shop shop better with
Yeah.
in a sustainable mindset. If I'm buying something, then what is going out, or do I need this, or how, those are the things that happen. And so you kind of back into sustainability. So
Mm.
talk, what has that journey been for you, as you, over the last, it's what, been a year now, a little over a year?
Been a little over a year now. Yeah, yeah. That went quick. So really what I kind of did was, instead of waiting until I kicked the bucket, I was like, here, kids, here go your stuff now. You wanted this? Here, you can take it. You can have it. And I love seeing things that I loved, going to people that I loved and being loved on differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I gave away a lot. I donated, and I kept a lot. I kept a lot. I thought that it was going to have to be more of a drastic um, purging than it really
Mhm.
was. A lot
Mhm.
of it was just me, right? And having to get through my attachment to things.
Mhm.
But when it came down to it, I have walls in here that have no art on them, right? Like I still have space, and I'm doing that intentionally because I'm thinking about, what do I want in that space? What do I want to feel that space? Just being more thoughtful about it. But it really took some work for me to really clarify what things really matter. What was the origin of my attachment to something? Like, why am I attached to this vase from Home Goods that they produce 97,000 of? I don't need that. But this piece that I got traveling, right?
Mhm.
That I want to hold on to. And I want to make space for more things like that. So I got rid of a lot of things that I guess you would say are mass produced, just things, and really focused on things that I knew I couldn't recreate, that were original, that really had some true value, and that I had real basis for being attached to, as opposed to that thing that I picked up while I was out shopping and it was cute and I liked the color, but you flip it over on the bottom and it's made in China. Like, I haven't even been to China yet. So I got rid of like pretty much everything that was made in China that I could and say, I'm gonna go to China,
And
okay,
get your own stuff.
and get
Right.
my own stuff. And then so when it says made in China, it has some
A
resonance. Yeah.
connection. Absolutely a
Yeah.
connection. So I know I have the benefit of knowing that you do have future plans for a homestead on the property, which
Yes.
I want you to talk about that. But I also want to say, because one of the things with tiny houses, so for me, my tiny house is my retirement plan. I don't have a plan for building something bigger. This is it.
Uh-huh.
That's the sunroom space was the
Uh-huh.
bigger that I'm adding, and then this is it. But I also share with people who to say a tiny house doesn't have to be your retirement plan, or it doesn't have to be your last home. It can be something that you do to catapult you to the next step. And so often people will have a 5 year plan. We're going to do this
Mhm.
tiny house thing so that we can be here. We're going to stack our papers because we want to build a bigger house, and we're going to pay for that bigger house in cash. And so
Mhm.
that mindset is, okay, this is a temporary solution to get us where we need to go and allow us to continue being in less debt or debt free. And so
Yeah.
talk a bit about what your future vision is for the home.
So the home that I purchased with your help was pre-owned. So you took in all of my wants, needs, desires, and we found a pre-existing, because building at the time wasn't an option, and I had a time crunch. Remember, I needed to get
Right,
something sooner rather
right.
than later. So you found a home that checked off like most of the boxes. I don't think an existing tiny would have done better within my budget, time frame, etc. I've been able to live in it for a while, and so my plan is to build another tiny, but one that I can take the experience of being in this one and use it to tweak a few things. I would change the laundry, different things like that, and really customize it to my lifestyle and the things that matter to me. And I will keep this tiny right where it is. The goal eventually is to be able to offer it for people to be able to come onto the farm, get away, get a immersive farming experience. If there are people
Okay.
who are interested in starting a similar operation, I would like to be able to work with them in a more extended way and engage with them on site. And so we'll be able to use this one. And then we have another tiny that we've purchased that we'll be putting in place that my son will be utilizing, but he'll be traveling and doing his thing. And so it'll be a revenue generation tool for him. He will be living at 19. You don't have to pay rent. Well, let me take that back. He gonna put something on it because he eat and you drink and electricity, but a nominal amount, right? Just
Right,
enough for
right,
him to understand adulting. And I want to be my baby girl is in the family home. I want to be able to set everybody up, so I don't see myself building this palatial space. Small, some heated floors. I want a towel warmer. All the
you
bells
don't
and
have to
whistles,
give up luxury to go tiny.
all the bells and
Absolutely.
all the bells and whistles, and I don't have to try to have heated floors and thousands of square feet. I only
Right,
need heated floor in a couple of hundred square feet. That totally changes things and allows you to really um, amp up your luxury, in
absolutely.
my opinion. So yeah, I don't want to go back to paying ridiculous amounts of money for spaces. I've had rooms in houses. I didn't even go in those rooms.
Right.
Right,
You end up
bathroom.
dusting them. Yeah,
End up dusting. I'm going in
yeah,
bathrooms. I'm like, I'm not even flushing this toilet. I'm
right.
paying to heat, cool, maintain space that's not being used. And then me personally, I have an issue with space not being used, and you got homeless people out on the street. Now, I'm not going to invite necessarily homeless people into my house, and there's a safety concern there. And so I'm being a single woman, but I don't like the idea of knowing I have space that's just sitting here and you have people that don't have a roof over their head. So it's important to me that I utilize all of the space that I have. So yeah, I'll be building, and instead of wasting all that money spending it on a house, I'm gonna take that money and build a barn that'll be used for wedding venues. So ramping up our revenues even more, because I ain't doing no animals other than my pets. But I am going to put a wedding venue space on site, and my hope is that one of my daughters will help with that business venture. Yeah.
All of this is intentional, and that is the theme that I hope people take away from this intentional living, and allowing you to again grow slow so you don't owe, and you're not just growing literal plants. This is growing this built business. This is growing the farm site, growing all of this slow so you don't owe, but it's all intentional to for wealth building. And you're at this point, you have everything in mind of taking care of your family and leaving things for the family so that everybody is doing well. And um
Yeah.
I feel like that's important and what this opportunity allows people to be able to have that thought process when you might not otherwise have it because you're constantly on the go. I gotta work so I can pay for this. I gotta work so I can pay for this. You don't get to spend time with your children because you're working to pay for these things. And so that is the mindset that and the lifestyle, the intentional lifestyle that I think tiny houses offer that people often overlook.
I agree. So many have been scammed by this idea of what a soft life is, right? You go onto the internet, and soft life means you must have expensive things surrounding you. Everything needs to be expensive, expensive, expensive. Um, there's a difference in things being costing a lot of money and things being worth a lot.
Worth. Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
once I made that shift and understood what is the real value of this thing, how am I being duped into believing that this thing means so much? I'm like, I'd rather buy acres than handbags. Okay, because my old place, I had about 20 acres sitting in the closet in boxes.
Right, right,
Right.
right.
So
And you
I'd
can't
rather
carry all of them. Right.
can't carry all of them. I'd rather buy acreage than handbags. I have a red bottom. My mailbox got a red bottom. So instead of spending money on red bottoms, I receive money in my
I
red
receive.
bottom.
I
And that
feel
was
that.
just a mindset shift. Yeah.
Right, right. And let me shout out Sandra. Sandra, thank you so much for the super chat. And I'm going to encourage everyone else. I've dropped it in the chat. But if you want to share some love and appreciation with today's guest, please feel free to share it via super chat. Or if you want to avoid YouTube's 30% cut, you can always cash out me or Venmo me, and I will be sure to share that love with our guests. And I've shared that information in the chat. Sandra, thank you for always leading the way. So I appreciate you.
That's
Um, yes. Um,
yeah. And let
so
me just say
what?
though, I still
Go
have
ahead.
some handbags. I still have some shoes, okay? Because I like to pretty up. I like to
I
go
got a
places.
whole closet in here.
Yeah, yeah.
I got a whole walk-in closet. You
I
don't have
still
to give up luxury to go tiny. It is very
yeah,
intentional though. I don't have all of the shoes. I don't have all of the bags, but what I think you said it earlier where it's like the things that bring you joy or the things that mean something or these
exactly.
pieces. I have timeless pieces. Like when I was looking at a pair like I have three pairs of heels in different colors, the same
Yeah,
shoe in different colors. That's the way I shop. If I find something I like and it's comfortable, I'm buying it in three different
yeah,
colors. And then as I was looking at a picture, I was like, I've had these shoes for about 15 years. So what I paid for them 15 years ago, bought three of them, and they're not red bottoms, but
yeah,
they've lasted these 15 years. They have served me well. And that's the way I try to shop now. Like it's intentional. It's about quality. It's about things that are going to last me. And then when I'm swapped, when it's time, it's done its job and it's time for me to buy something else. I know that in good conscience, I'm doing things in a sustainable manner and spending my money in the way that I feel good about.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I've become much more of a conscious consumer in a way that I'm looking at these companies to see, okay,
Right.
I'm providing you with some profits. What are you providing? I can't just give my money to companies that I don't feel aligned with my values anymore. A lot of these luxury companies, leather goods, that they're not buying not one piece of leather from a black rancher. I'm looking at those kind of things because that kind of mindset is needed in order for us to truly have a more collective economy and to hold these companies accountable and
Accountable.
understand
Absolutely.
you can't respect our black, you should not expect our green. And we have to make that clear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My next question I was going to ask you was what, if anything, you had learned about yourself in this journey and what the journey has taught you. I think all throughout
Yeah.
you've talked about that, but is there anything else specific that you want to speak to that this journey has taught you or you've learned about yourself in the journey?
Yeah. So when I started this journey, a lot of my friends, lived and still do, live the more traditional lifestyle. And even family members, I got a lot of pushback. Um, Both from one starting a farm because everybody knows that all black farmers are dirt poor, right? Why would you do that? You've got a successful career. Why would you want to regress and become a farmer? Because we carry a lot of trauma
Mm-hmm.
in our relationship with agriculture. Why would you want to move and be out in a rural area where you don't have a target that's within 5-10 minutes, etc.? And why would you live small? Like, are you poor? What's going on? Do you need some help? Those kind of things. And I realized just how much I don't really care anymore about what people think about my lifestyle or how I'm living or what I'm doing. Like, I literally could care less. I don't care if it doesn't meet your expectations. I don't care if it were me, it's not. It's me. So you do you. And I think this has taught me how to really do me. And it's carried over into many aspects of my life, not just my living and what I'm doing with my business, but how I engage in relationships. It's not that I don't care about people's feelings. I've learned to be able to determine which feelings I need to care about. Your doubt in my choices, your thinking that somehow I have reduced my quality of life because I reduced my dependence on some stuff. Like that kind of stuff, that's not my problem. And calming you or somehow providing you comfort is not my burden. That's not my
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
ministry. And so
mm-mm.
I've reclaimed so much time and energy that I would have spent on trying to prove to someone, trying to validate the choices that I've made for my life. I've reclaimed all of that. And I find that I feel more free than I've ever felt. I feel more empowered than I've ever felt. And I feel more capable than I've ever felt. And that's a beautiful way to exist. I've
Absolutely.
learned too just the importance of energy curation and peace protection. And I'm relentless about both. I'm going to curate the energy around me, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person, however it is. And I'm going to protect my peace.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't believe. I
Yeah.
protect it.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Um, One of the things, so when I started out in this movement, um, and as I realized my journey was different from my counterparts, and as I started experiencing racism in different parts, and I was having to make decisions with my home that were different from my counterparts because I had to factor in my brown skin and reactions. Um,
Yeah.
it created a shift in my journey and how I feel like I need to represent and how I need to show up in the community. It is what has prompted me to build spaces like this so that I'm ensuring that I hold space in the community
Mm-hmm.
for us to see ourselves in this movement, to have these conversations that are different than the aesthetics of a tiny house and how did you do that, and all of those questions. There's plenty of channels that are talking about that.
Yeah.
I want to have this conversation that is about the intent and the feeling and the tiny house and how it has shifted, your mindset and your journey.
Mm-hmm.
What has this process for you? Like I know a lot of this is who you are at the core, but
Mm-hmm.
with your home, with the farm, has it created any change in your larger value system? Has anything changed there for you? And I think you were just kind of talking about that in your last answer.
Yeah, yeah. It definitely has created some personal growth. In the larger context, I wouldn't say it's changed my values, but it's created a way for me to more effectively communicate what those values are.
Okay.
Because I'm living and embodying those values. So for our farm, we have what we call the 4 E's. That's economic prosperity, equity, environment, and education. And those are things that have always been important to me and have always been factors in the work that I have done professionally, as well as what I do as far as civic engagement. However, there was a point where I allowed my feeling that I was responsible for moving us forward to become extractive in a way. And I've changed in the sense that I do give back. I do focus on my blackness and my womanness because that's who I am. I love to give. I'm blackity black black, and I'm very much a woman. But I no longer allow people to try to make it seem like I owe, right? Because I'm owed.
Okay.
I'm very clear on that. So, especially in the agricultural space, you can have people who will come and be like, hey, uh, you should have your farm open to tours. Why? Why should I have my farms open to free tours? That's the big thing. People want,
Okay. Right, right,
you
right,
want me to
right.
walk
Yeah.
around for 2, 3 hours with you for free and tell you everything that I know. That's taken away from my business. I'm a working farm. That's taken away from production. That's taken away from things that I have to do. And you're the one receiving. And what am I
Right.
receiving? The joy of walking you around. Like, don't put that obligation on me because you just passed by 6 white farms and you didn't expect not one of them to walk you around for free, but then you come here to me and have this expectation obligation that I owe you. I'm owed just like you are. We have to get
Absolutely.
to the mindset of being more comfortable with symbiotic relationships and not have this sense of entitlement because someone that looks like us or has a similar cultural experience to us has managed to accomplish something. I give back in a way that feels good to me. And I'm not going to allow anybody else to dictate what that is. So if I feel like giving money, I give money. If I feel like giving time, I give time. If I feel like giving expertise, I give expertise. And if I feel like giving myself some grace and a break and a vacation and a massage or whatever else is I want or feel like I need, then I do that. I don't allow the needs of others to be my responsibility. And so value wise, um, that's a change for me because there was a time I did what I was asked to do because I'd feel guilty, right? Like, well, I can do it. I should. Why?
Yeah.
If I don't do it, who will?
Right.
I'm no longer there. And so that can give you, you can catch some flack for that.
Absolutely.
I get a lot of people. How can you sell digital courses for this information? It's available for free. Well, go get it, Cletus. If it's free, go get it. I'm not
Un-
stopping you, but if I take time to create it and I'm sharing my knowledge and my expertise, and if you don't want to compensate, you have people who say stuff like that and then they'll forget that I got 200 videos on YouTube for free detailing information. You haven't even taken the time to go on YouTube and look at a video, but you have an attitude because you came in my DMs and asked me, how do I start a farm? And got upset because I didn't break down to you in my DMs, stopped everything I was doing and typed to you specifically how to start a farm. And then when I tell you you can pay for a consultation or you can
you
pay for a course,
angry.
you're
You
mad.
angry.
You
You
don't need to farm.
angry.
You don't need to farm because you're spiritually raggedy and plants deserve better and the animals deserve better. You don't need to farm. So,
C has taken us to church on Sunday, and I can relate to every word that you just said in my tiny house journey because I felt like now as I was going to my through my journey when I was building 2013, 2014, there weren't the resources out here that there are
yeah,
right now. And so
yeah,
I was paying for consult. There wasn't Google where I could ask all these questions. So I was paying for consultations. I was paying for books because they'd end up being a PDF with not good spelling, but that's another
yeah,
conversation.
yes,
I was paying for all of this because I needed to get the knowledge so I could do what I needed to do. And then
exactly.
as I started in this journey, I wanted to share with others that looked like me because I wanted us to be in this movement. And then now I'm 8 years in it and I have a wealth of knowledge. And I have, I get the people who are, I'd like to buy you some coffee to pick your brain. I don't drink coffee. I don't, and we're not picking my brain. But that
Yeah,
has been a learned experience where I say, no, I'm going to charge you for this knowledge because I can guilt myself into saying, Jewel, you should do this. You should answer the question. And I have a policy. I do try to answer the first question free, the basic first question. But after that, if you want to keep asking questions, I have a method for you to do that. And I will point them just like what you said. The free content is out here on YouTube. On every Sunday, I spend at least an hour answering
yeah,
questions or in this conversation. So that's the
yeah,
free stuff.
yeah,
Go get the free stuff. But if you want access to me, because I can sit on my couch and dream up new work I want to do, I can sit on my couch and take a nap. I can sit on my couch and let Brooklyn harass me
yeah,
for free and enjoy that. If you want access, then you have to be willing to pay. And I thank you so much for you because every time that I have because you and I are friends and you'll ask me a question and something, I'm like, okay, I can do, and then you'll say, oh no, I need to pay you for that. And I respect and appreciate that because I'm a giver and we've got a relationship. And for me, it doesn't always have to be a financial transactional,
no,
but you say, No, let me pay you for that because
Because
that is knowledge.
I value you save me money. When I come to you and I say, Jewel, I'm looking for a tiny home, and you locate the tiny home and you facilitated that whole sale. That saved me money. So I was able to go and do other things. And so I understand that. And see, the thing with me is, again, it goes back to that farmer mindset, right? In their mind, farmers don't make money. So she's used to being poor. I ain't been poor for a very, very long time. It's been a hot minute since your girl been on the struggle bus. So I'm not going to give you my time as a farmer. You can get my time as a CEO. That's what you can get my time
Mm,
at because that's
mm,
who I am. I'm a CEO. And you hadn't gone down to any of these CEOs that you helping to make rich
right,
and ask
right.
them when the
Ask
last
them
time
for,
you called your cell phone company CEO and said, "Hey, I need some time to pick your brain." My
right,
brain is not picking. My brain
right,
is been picked. It's no more
right,
picking to be done. My fields, if you want to come, those are. And somebody
right.
commented, I just saw, they said charge for your tours. I do have a select number of walking workshops, maximum of 6 people. It's a 2-hour workshop.
Wait, wait,
And
wait, wait, wait,
oh,
wait. I got that on the list, sis. Wait,
oh,
wait,
my
wait.
bad, my bad. I just wanted to
I'm
let
getting
her
to
know. I
that.
do
You know,
feel you.
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have been cussed out because I didn't give for free.
Oh,
Where
oh,
you're not trying to further the community. You're not really a sister. You're not, all of these things.
ooh,
I have
yeah,
given. I'm giving. I on Instagram. I'm giving. I'm giving knowledge. I'm sharing. I'm sharing my journey. I'm giving all the time. But at
yeah,
some point, if you want access to the inner workings, the more details, you have to be willing to invest in yourself. You have to
yep,
be willing to invest in the people that you're asking for that knowledge from. If you
yeah,
don't want to, Google what they say. Go try Google. Don't try me. Google is
yeah.
it. There's a lot of information out there now, and
Huh,
that's what they said to me. There's information out on the internet that's for free. I'm sitting in my tiny house. Go get that free information then. Go get it. And it is a
yeah,
mindset shift where I have to not guilt myself into doing that because there is some value in experience. And I appreciated you because one, I was able to facilitate a sale from a black woman, tiny house owner,
word.
and facilitate you buying it and make all of those things happen so that both of you were okay in that process. And that is something that I appreciated being able to do to make sure that both of you were taken care of.
Yes, and you did. I still think you should have got paid more, but you did. Uh, I tell you all the time, you too reasonable. And so the
I
idea that somebody has an attitude with paying you is like, what? Do you really, are you really ready? And what I've realized, a lot of people like talking about what they want to do. They have no intention of actually doing it. Those are the people who are bitter, right? Those are the people who are upset. The people who aren't really committed to being moving forward with something. Because if I
mhm.
can't pay you right now, thank you, sis. I'm gonna come back when I can
Mhm.
pay you. And I may come back at a different point because I'm gonna go do what I can do. And then when I come back at you, I may be at another level. So now I
Right.
need your assistance up here instead of down here. And you know who's been some of the nastiest folks in this farming space? I'm gonna take white folk because white people's gonna be white. They gonna be white people.
I'll be people.
Um, but some of the ones I think I'm most surprised about in agriculture are how black male farmers are. Oh, the misogyny is real. Look, Cletus, don't be mad at me because you've been farming for however long you've been farming, and I came in and I'm where I am right now. What you should be doing is talking to me, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't be where I am if I didn't have the skills that I had. I came into farming, I was not a skilled grower. I was a proven and skilled and awarded marketing professional and fundraiser. I know how to find money and I know how to create momentum behind a brand. Those are the skills that I brought into agriculture, into farming. And I've been able to use those to be able to propel my business. My first season, I didn't produce anything. I sourced. I was able and still put money in other farmers' pockets and have done that consistently. But I have had some of the most disappointing
Yeah.
responses from from Black men. Um,
That's an
on my agriculture side.
I
Just
can say the same. Yeah. And
just
it's very disappointing, especially when we know we go hard for them. We would
so
want
hard.
them to support us, and I
Yeah,
can say the same.
yeah,
I understand that completely. Talk to me about, and this is kind of the segue from that, farming challenges. So we already know there are farming challenges, period.
yeah.
And I know we're getting close to an hour and a half. So I got like three more questions. So
Okay.
farming challenges, and I talk about this like even with farmers losing their land, but farming challenges, black farming challenges, and then black woman farming challenges. Like
Okay.
I know there are three tiers to that.
Yeah. So farming challenges, climate is changing, and we have to become more climate resilient. We have to plant crops that are able to flourish with our changing climates. We have to adjust our planting schedules. We're dealing with more droughts. We're dealing with more flooding. So you need green infrastructure that can help with that. You need more irrigation and other things as far as helping to build your ability to deal with the changing climate. Like while some people
Okay.
are out there still, oh, I don't think climate change is real, or like I can't even engage in those debates because I'm experiencing it and I
Right,
see it
right,
firsthand. This winter right here. You know, everybody I've had people,
right.
oh, I'm so glad that it's been so mild and it's warm outside. I don't like cold weather either, but more than anything, I respect nature and understand the process that we must go through in order for us to have a balanced system. For
Right.
me, not having a winter means that my crops that need to overwinter, my seeds that need to cold stratify can't do that. So I have to be able to adjust how I'm growing. And that requires resources. Black
Mm-hmm.
farming in particular, of course, we know of the historic and systemic
Absolutely.
system, you know, the things that have been put in place to ensure that Black farmers do not flourish. Some of the
Right.
other things that are challenging for Black farmers is still this commitment to a traditional approach to farming.
Okay.
And we have to break out of that. We have to look at other crops, we have to look at other channels. Now, one of the challenges is, of course, the supply chain. We've been left out of that in a major way. They're not contacting us when they're going to, you know, source material or create these opportunities that some of the farmers that they've always had access to these opportunities are able to benefit from. And so we do need supply chain diversification and inclusion. And we need farmers who are willing to move more into embracing the entrepreneurial aspects of agriculture.
Okay.
Because if you're a farmer, you are an entrepreneur. And it's
Right.
about creating that ecosystem that supports that agripreneurism. For a Black woman, I mean,
Just give
melanin,
me
estrogen,
the top two.
you know, yeah, both apparently of these chemicals that occur naturally in my being seem to be problematic. You have people who say, because I'm a single Black woman, you know, how
Mm,
dare you be
mm,
out here as a single Black woman? That's not
mm.
feminine for you to be farming. My account feels very ladylike. She's pretty, you know. I don't even worry about those kind of things. Of course, color of your skin, the fact that I'm even in medicinal plants and herbs. Yeah, who would buy that? Who wants that? Do you know one of the biggest crops right now is dandelion, which is a
Mm-hmm.
weed
Mm-hmm.
or viewed
Mm-hmm.
as a weed? There's money in medicinal plants and herbs, and it's $1 trillion industry. We're not in that industry. We're not there. Okay, we're not
Right.
sourcing. We're
Right.
not creating the brands. And another confusion I think for me as a farmer is people not understanding that farmers can have brands and value add products on shelves. This idea
Mm.
that the only thing that we grow or raise are meats and perishable items. So I hear all the time, with Black food brands, for example, um, they don't include farmers oftentimes when they're
Mm-hmm.
thinking
Mm-hmm.
about Black food brands. And I'm like, we're the first ones that you should be including. If you have a Black farmer that has been able to vertically scale to the point that they also have items on shelves, those are the first Black food and beverage brands that you should be supporting, because I'm taking care of you from seed to sip, right?
Right,
A lot
right.
of times we go on Amazon, we buying our herbs and stuff, and getting dust, because it ain't even herbs, it's dust. That's why they grind it up so you can't see all the other stuff that's in it. And we're thinking, oh, I'm getting a good deal. I'm getting all of this for $5, and they delivered it to me in 2 days. What's that herb supposed to do? And how much misery? Okay, how many tears of misery help water those plants? Because if you got it for
Right.
$5 in 2 days, trust me, the people who are growing it got pennies, if that. And so, with being a Black woman in that space, just trying to educate people on the importance, especially when it comes to your plant medicine, of knowing the origin of where your plants are coming from, and knowing how they're grown, and knowing the intention in which they were grown. That is critical. So yeah, some people say I deal with a little ageism. That doesn't bother me as much. But you're not old enough to be a farmer. You haven't been farming long enough. How dare you speak for Black farmers on some of these topics when you only
You
have
ain't been
half
in
a
here. Yeah.
decade? Did they call you Cletus? See, if your
Right.
attitude's right, me, if you know
Right.
me, I'm always opening the door. I don't go
Reaching
to
in,
a
reaching
meeting.
back. Right.
I don't go to a meeting and not let everybody else know where the meeting is. I'm letting you know the meeting. I'm letting you know the coordinates. I'm letting you know what snacks they got available in case you need to bring some with you. I'm screenshotting the agenda. Like, I'm bringing you with me.
Right.
But we are so conditioned to do this internal competition,
Right.
and now you got the social
It's
media
enough
where
for all of us out here.
folks want to be popular instead of purposeful, right? You get caught up. I don't care how many followers I have. How many customers do I have? Right?
Right.
I personally don't need a whole bunch of folks following me, because I don't know what you're doing back there. I don't like just anybody behind my back, right? I want to know that you're trying to go to where I'm going. Are we going in the right direction? Is this the direction that you want to go in? And now you have where people become virtual celebrities, and even in the farming space, and it goes to heads. And I just I have no time for such things.
Tell us quickly the significance of that B Corp designation, please.
Yeah. So, like I said, first Black farm to attain it, but we're not going to be the last, because, like I said, I opened the door. We've got another Black woman farmer, who will be pursuing it. And not only that, I was able to work with B Labs, which is the organization that runs B Corp, and created the Level program, which is taking applications right now if you are interested in becoming a certified B Corp. So basically, what that certification means is you have met certain thresholds regarding your business activities, as far as the environment is concerned, how you treat your employees, compensate your employees, the type of materials that you use, a whole bunch of different areas. And when you meet that threshold, then you are eligible to apply for B Corp.
Okay.
And it's about, gosh, I think it's about 3,000 4,000 members at this point. It's a global certification. And the Level program. So I actually worked with them to co-create a program that is focused on Black and Indigenous women and femme identifying business leaders who are interested in becoming a certified B Corp. You will get a consultant for free that will walk you through the process, and then you also will receive a stipend to
Very
help
nice.
support. And then you'll also be able to join at a reduced amount.
Okay. Okay. Very nice. And again, that is reaching back so other people can follow this same journey that you already are blazing this trail. Um, what? Uh-oh, did I lose
Oh,
you?
out.
What?
Yeah.
What you say?
My
Say it
bad.
again.
Yeah. I was saying I'll send you the link in case you have some
Okay.
entrepreneurs or business owners who may be interested.
Okay, we can include that in the video description. All right. What would be the title of your autobiography?
Oh, what would be the title? Haters gonna call it a hoe.
Wait, say it.
Ah,
Haters what? You haters
haters
what?
gonna call it a hoe.
That is a beautiful title for you and your
Yes,
book.
haters gonna call it a
Absolutely.
hoe.
Absolutely. I
Yes.
love that. I love that. Okay, so before I ask you to share all of your details, what is one question that I didn't ask that you wish I had asked?
You ask good questions.
Well, thank you.
Um, something you didn't ask. Um, I think maybe something about maybe like how things are set up to protect assets for the future.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
so my land is privately owned by myself, and I've placed it into a trust for my family. So my children and grandchildren and my son-in-laws, as long as they stay son-in-laws, will inherit, which they will. I've got some good ones. And then my business is set up as a corporation, and it pays rent. It leases the land from my family, essentially. And the reason I set it up that way was so if my children decide they don't want to deal with green Heffa Farms, this isn't their dream, I'm perfectly okay with that. I want them to go off and live their own lives. They can sell it. I'm not one of those black owned brands. It's like, oh no, don't sell it. Keep it for the people. That's not my attitude because other businesses are allowed to develop brands and sell all the time and make
Mm-hmm.
millions. And there's never any pushback. But when a black brand does it, all of a sudden they're giving up something for the culture. If you know how to
Mm-hmm.
create a brand, you know how to create a brand. You can create another one. So I want to be able to have that flexibility. What I was conditioned, and I also own the 20-acre tree farm in Alabama that I inherited from my mother because we were taught a few things. We were taught you hold on to the land, you don't let the
Mm-hmm.
land go. So my children know that. We were also taught that we multiply, we don't divide. So when my mother passed away, she left us each 20 acres. So right now, I've got 3 kids. I'm looking at how many acres I have total because I'm not dividing, we're multiplying. So my goal is to make sure that I set each of them up equitably. It's also a way I've been able to control how many grandkids I have because I told my kids, I've taught them that too. Hey, whatever, however many you got, you can't
You
divide.
got
You
it
got to
divide.
multiply.
Right.
So make sure. So yeah, just making sure in business that you're also thinking about things such as succession planning. You're thinking about things such as estate planning and making sure you're protecting your investments, insurance, right? I've got to have liability insurance because I have products. I have to have insurance because people come and visit the farm. I have to have insurance on my property. I have to have insurance on my crops. I have to have insurance on
Wow.
a whole, but life insurance, health
Yeah,
is a lot of insurance. So making sure administratively that you're setting those things up, but definitely think about succession and what it looks like for future generations.
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so there were a few questions in the chat.
Okay.
There was a question, not, I'm not saying we're answering. There was a question specifically asking about grant writing and getting grants for your farm.
Mhm.
There's also a question about whether you have to have an LLC for your farm. So we're not answering those questions
Okay.
specifically, but what I'm going to ask you to do right now is talk to the speaking opportunities that you have coming up, talk to the workshops and the offerings that you provide where you can
Mhm.
work with people specifically along those lines to answer those
Yeah,
types of questions, because we can't answer all of them here, but there is an opportunity. We already talked about why you should be willing to invest in your knowledge and invest with someone that's already walking the walk. So
absolutely.
if you'll share that information, and I'm going to share it in the description of the video, but I want to hear it from her mouth.
Okay. So I'm revamping my digital course, which is grant writing for small farms. And that is specifically on securing government grants. So your state, local, federal. Of course, there's a bigger bucket of grants for our farm. We have received state, federal, and private corporate grants. We also receive support through cost share. A lot of people call those grants, but they're not. Cost share assistance through EQIP, NRCS, and things like that. And we also receive support from corporate partnerships. So I get paid to speak. Keynote upcoming, I will be in South Carolina March 10th for the Black Farmers Coalition, and then I'll be in Nebraska in June. I don't do a lot in the summer because I'm here. So, like in the summer, my prices triple because I really don't want you. I want you to be
Pulling
like,
you from the
nah,
farm.
yeah, you
Yeah.
cost too much. But if you're gonna pay that much, then let me go and pack my bag, y'all. I'll hold it down. I'll be back. So I have something coming up in Nebraska in June. What else do I have going on? So that digital course, I will be launching another digital course, and I'm writing a book. I'm in the process of writing a book, which will be the Black Girl's Guide to Starting a Boutique farm. And so that's in process. I may owe somebody some chapters, so I need to get on that. But that will be coming, and I will also be dropping a social media course for people with agricultural based businesses to really help them be able to create a greater platform, because we do make money off of creating content. I'm picky about the brands. Of every 10 brands that approach, I probably will say yes to one, but we do have brands that we work with and create content with. So we will, that's another source of revenue. And I actually have a couple of videos on my YouTube for free breaking down all of the ways that I have been able to fund my farm. Now, I will just say this real quick, because I get asked a lot, how do you start a farm with $0, no experience? I don't know. Okay. You got to
Mm-hmm.
have something. You either got to have some experience, or you're going to have some dollars. And you're going to have some dollars. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
need to be able to bring something to the table. There is no grant out there yet. I know there's some in the works, but there are no grants out there yet that will pay for you to own land. That's not how the government operates. Um, Grant money that's out there for farmers are to help you build or expand an existing business. So
Okay.
don't think necessarily your first step has to be to buy land. Focus on building your brand, because you can lease some land for to get started. You can lease space. You only need 1/100th of an acre, 1/100th of an acre, in order to qualify for a farm ID, which is what
Wow.
opens you up to funding, right?
Okay.
So people who are like, oh, I just got a backyard. Is it your backyard? If it's your backyard, and unless there's some HOA or something limiting you from being able to get a farm ID, you could potentially be able to get a farm ID and start on that backyard. My first farm was a grow tent in my garage.
Okay.
That's where I started. So keep that in mind also, and understand that grants are meant to be a part of your revenue generation. They're not
Not
meant
all of it.
for you to depend on it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So I'll be sharing some of the information. I'll definitely share ways to connect with C um, in the video description. Just give me some time to get it up there. Um, and again, She's got some free content, YouTube, follow her on social media, but also be willing to invest so that you're getting the one-on-one assistance that you might need. And let me go ahead and throw my work out there. Y'all can invest in me too, and let me help you get to tiny houses.
Well, I'm not doing consultants. I'm not doing any
You're not doing
consultations right
okay.
now. But if they are interested in starting a farm, but they want a tiny house, and you book with Jewel, okay, I will give a free 30-minute consultation
Oh,
if you book through Jewel and you're interested in tiny house living on a farming business. I will do
and so
that.
you're gonna have to tell me that that's how you heard it, because I'm not offering that special. So you got to tell me so I can make the connection to her. So thank you. I certainly appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, I see another specific question. We're not answering that question. We are almost at 2 hours. I thank you so much. And this won't be her only time on there. We talk all the time about the things that we need to do together to move
Yeah.
forward this representation. There's so much that I want to do, and C is always pushing me. So we'll have to figure out what that looks like.
Because you
Any
tour. You the only person I said I would let come do a tour.
Absolutely, you have said that, so
I send
I
them a
appreciate that.
postcard. I don't.
I
I
know.
do want to say quick. Somebody asked where to find my teas. Green
Oh, I'm
Heifer Farm.
sorry, I missed that.
That's okay. GreenHeiferFarms.com, and you can find me Green Heifer Farms or Farmer Cee on anything. I did want to tell them real quick about the security office. Why it's a security office? Is
Go
that
ahead.
okay? Okay.
Absolutely.
So the reason, y'all, we call this a security office is because in the county that my farm is in, they do not allow for tiny houses on wheels. And in case any of them watch, because they be lurking, it is a security office. Okay. So
Did y'all not
um,
see that sign?
they it's a big sign, yeah. So
All
they
right.
don't allow for tiny houses to reside in. However, because I am a farming business and I have some ag exemptions, I am able to have structures for the business, right? So that is why this is a 24-hour security office. If they
Via contacts. Um, I hope I didn't lose you. Are you still here?
I'm
Oh,
looking
okay.
at you.
Okay. It looks like my screen froze on this side. All the social in the video description. See, you still here?
I